Welcome back to 1010's podcast. I am your host, Robbie Brielle, and across from me on Zoom is Adam and Dusty, because we are back. And Woo. Not that we haven't fucking tried. It's just taken this long and this much effort and this late at night to get us all together.
My life is a series of unfortunate events.
This poor fella can't breathe. He's sick. He's still sick. He was sick.
So,
he's going to be sick.
So last week, I got hella sick. And then this weekend, I was feeling better. And then yesterday, I wake up and I was feeling but whatever. And I went to work. And then, like, just kind of through the day, kind of slowly devolved from there. And by the time I went to bed, I was, like, broke out in a fever, the shivers and shakes, the whole 9 yards. And then I woke up this morning feeling kind of meh again, but better. And the same thing has happened, and I feel like fucking dog shit right now.
Well, you don't sound great.
And then now occasionally I'm also either blowing it out my nose or coughing it up, but now there's blood in the equation, so that's really cool too. So I guess I'm going to go see a doctor tomorrow.
Well, we appreciate the sacrifice you're making to your body to be here tonight.
Yes. Your dedication.
It's gonna cost me so much money.
It's fine.
Doctors are the worst. Robbie, you're out.
The healthcare system.
The healthcare system is the worst.
The healthcare system is fine. There's nothing to worry about.
Okay, that's fair. Doctors are fine. The healthcare system is screwed up.
Yep. Did you make an appointment 3 weeks ago for this?
No, I'm gonna go see an urgent care tomorrow.
Oh well, I'm just saying, like, if you didn't make an appointment a few weeks ago, you're fucked.
Nah, urgent care will see me.
That's true.
It'll be fine.
Six, 7, 8 hours is fine.
Yeah.
Doc in a box.
Can't you just call Amazon or whatever now?
Oh yeah.
Because Amazon Pharmacy, you can just call in and be like, I'm coughing blood, and they're like, here, pills show up like an hour later. I think it's a thing.
I don't know. Hy-Vee's got this Doctors Now thing. That's probably where I'll go.
Oh, yeah. We have a friend that was a like cath lab nurse, and the last time we saw them, I was like, "Where are you working now?" She was like, Amazon Medical." It's like, really? Yeah.
How?
And I think the one that she was at was literally just for Amazon employees, like because they employ so many people that they have their own healthcare system because it probably saves them money.
That makes sense.
To build their own prime hospital than to actually like just use a regular hospital, which, I mean, when you think about it, makes perfect sense given what we know about the healthcare system.
Yeah, it's probably very, very accurate. That's insane.
Gross.
Yep. But in the time that we've done a last show, I've done some stuff, but we're not going to talk about it because who cares? But Dusty has done some stuff, and we do care.
Ish.
People care.
I mean,
people care.
I don't know if you looked at his pictures, but not a lot of other people cared either. So
Oof.
I saw the vast empty spaces behind him and in front of him.
It's a big track. You know.
It's not an F1 weekend. What do you expect?
So, for anybody that's not sure what we're talking about, I went to Superlap at Circuit of the Americas in Austin weekend before last now. So yeah, this is the seventh one. First one was in 2019.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That you went to, or that they've done?
We went to the first one.
Oh, I'm sure you mentioned it on the show, and I just don't remember.
Yeah. I've missed 2 now.
Yeah, I've done media at every one of them now.
I've missed every single one of them.
Yeah, Robbie hasn't cared enough to come down to see me for any of these.
Damn it! See, if you say it like that, then I do feel bad.
Yeah.
Do you though?
Of course.
Whatever.
I would travel to Texas to see Dusty.
Yeah, so this year, so since the second year of it, I guess, GLTC has been a part of the lineup there, along with the Global Time Attack classes. But this year, there was a scheduling conflict, I think, and I'm not really sure what else took place, but Grid Life was running at CMP in South Carolina the same weekend. So there was no GLTC. So it was just the GTA Time Attack classes. And then they had, they called it Supercar Sessions. That was kind of, they did a similar thing last year, but this was like, they had like 2 or 3 sessions a day that were just basically Supercar HPD. And
So that'd be like I got a picture of the Ford GT Mark IV. You're talking like the $2 million cars basically is that's what session for.
well, so the Mark IV was actually running a Time Attack in the GTX class.
Oh. Hey, you want to take a step back and run down through all the classes for me real quick so I understand?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah. So GTA the last couple of years, so there is Unlimited, which is fairly straightforward. It's cars with VINs, basically open aero, open powertrain, open everything.
Fire rules.
Yeah, it just has open aero slicks. Needs to have started out as a production car. Limited is the next step down in the traditional Time Attack classes. It's limited aero, 200 treadwear. That's the 2 basic things. It can be power adders. It can be you can build a really crazy car for limited. It just has to go through a 200 treadwear tire. Then street, which is like more limited aero. I think it still has to have interior. You can still go pretty extreme. Enthusiast is like pretty limited. I think stock aero, basically just like bolt-on power adders. And then the 2 that kind of fall outside of that, there's GTX, which is for like factory built race cars, so GT3 cars, that kind of stuff. And then Max Effort, which is where like Mike Dussault's Camaro falls. So it's it can be like a silhouette kind of car. So like
Is that where the LMP cars are too then?
LMPs are GTX.
GTX as well? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So GTX was the Rafa Racing 720S GT3X. That's like the special edition McLaren that is just a balls out, no rules GT3 car. The Ford GT Mark IV, which is like a $1.7 million one of 67 special edition Ford supercar. 2 LMP3s, Viper GT3, and a Lamborghini Super Trofeo car. So like, purpose-built race car, factory engineered, that kind of thing. So I think we argued about this last year. I still think Time Attack is a builder's class kind of thing. So I kind of like that they've split it out like this to where the, unlimited, limited, street, enthusiast, that's kind of the traditional Time Attack stuff. The Max Effort class, I'm probably working on a car right now that's the only place it would fall into with GTA, so I kind of have a soft spot for that too because it's more builder oriented. But
I get not having the LMP cars run against like the unlimited class. That's fine. I get that. But I still think like the 720S and, especially like the Super Trofeo and stuff like that, let them in unlimited. Who cares? You could, if you really wanted to, you could buy a Huracan and then put all the Super Trofeo parts on it and run it in unlimited. So why can't that one be an unlimited?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not. I still have the same like vague conviction to it, but kind of overall apathy because the majority of the rest of the classes are now just it's Supras and M2s now because Jackie Ding is an absolute force in what goes in Time Attack, apparently.
He's definitely found the easy button for building customer cars.
he is wielding a lot of influence, and
good for him too. He's worked his ass off to get there. So
yeah, that's super cool. But so like the first several years of it, it was Jackie's Supra sitting around a bunch of Supras. Well, this year it was Jackie's BMW sitting next to one Supra and like 5 BMWs. So I was like, well, I can't. And
so they were all BMWs then. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, well,
yes.
Technically, but
somebody has to make the joke, even if I don't entirely agree with it.
Even if the Supra's on its deathbed now, we still have to make fun of it for being a BMW. Yeah.
I mean, that actually does make me sad, though.
Yeah. It's the car everybody begged for, and then no one had the credit rating to buy because it was $60,000, and well, plenty of people did, and they turned them into time attack cars, but.
Well, plenty of people can buy them, but they bought Silverados and Tahoes instead.
Well, that too. Yeah. But, so yeah, the like winning times in each class kind of came down a little bit more again. Ferris won in Unlimited and ran a 2-minute 0.668 second lap, which he cut. He wasn't there last year. He cut a couple seconds off of what he had run.
I was going to say it was at like 202, I thought, before or something.
Yeah,
like
I think
202 something.
In 2023, he ran like a 202.5 or something like that. So this was with the Kevlar car, which is the original one, which came back from Australia a few months ago, and he kind of like went through and patched up a bunch of stuff on it. It was wild. Whenever I walked up to him on Saturday morning, I was like, man, this car's like seeing a ghost. Like it was just gone for like 2.5 years.
Yeah, it really was. It really was that long, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure all like just all the shit he had to go through, like just weird things that would have popped up over the last couple of years that he wouldn't have had time to fix during the events or while it was gone. So yeah, I think a Herculean effort just to get that car back to where it was, I'm sure.
Yeah, and like the body, which that Kevlar body, it's a drift car body. It's like you push on it anywhere and it's just flexible, and it's gotten beat up in shipping, and there's little cracks and scratches and all this stuff all over it. It's like that car, everywhere you look on it, that car has a story.
Yeah. Including that weekend.
Yeah, so I stayed through 3 sessions on Saturday, and then I bailed and went back and edited images, and then went to drink beer and have dinner with a buddy. The last session he went back out just to see what it would do for half a lap and see if he wanted to finish it out. And going down the back straight, I think he said whenever he hit the brakes into 12 at the end of the straight. So there was the wind through the day on Saturday just like kept picking up. And it was a straight headwind down the back straight. So this car's running 190 into a 25 mile an hour headwind that is gusting to 30 to 35. And he hits the brakes for 12, and the wing breaks loose and just sits down on the hatch. At which point, the back end of the car becomes very unstable, and the car loops around, and the wing just goes tink, 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 and just skips across the ground.
Was it like totally messed up, or was it like all things considered not bad?
Whenever because I had seen his post, because he drove from Austin back to Dallas to get the wing off the other car, and then drove back that night. And like by the time I got back home from dinner, he was already back. I don't know, like that Raptor. I think it must like time travel when it goes 88 miles an hour or something. But like I walked up on Sunday morning and I couldn't even tell. I was like, did did it break but stayed attached? He was like, oh no, it fell off, but it just sat down on the end plates and just went dink 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 across the ground, I guess.
Wild. I have the picture up that you sent us of the wings next to each other, and yeah, I would, if I hadn't seen the picture of the sheared bolts that I think Ferris posted, I wouldn't suspect that there was any damage. I just assume he had a spare.
Yeah, the I think the bottom of the end plates were just scraped up a little bit was really all that was done to it, but
wow.
And so yeah, that wing, it's swan mount. It's got aluminum brackets on the top that just have there's 2 screws on each side that go down into the main plane on the wing. And
they're like what, M8s, M6s?
Probably 8s. So he was looking at it and he was like, the tensile strength on these is like 4,000 pounds a piece or something like that. And I was like, yeah, but there's probably a fatigue lifespan to them also.
Who would ever think of that, though?
Yeah, know.
God damn.
Also, he sheared them. He sheared them. He didn't pull them, for the record.
Is that's not like an APR or anything like that?
It's Veris built it.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. Oh, that's right. I forgot that he was doing stuff with them for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's, I think the current Aero that's on that car. I don't know if they did the front. He had gotten another carbon fiber splitter made, and it did not survive testing, so he ended up having to put the old one back on the car for the weekend. But so yeah, and then it's like he went out, ran that 2-minute flat, I think, in the second session on Sunday, and the wind just kept picking up. Whenever he came in from that session, or I guess the session after he ran the 2 flat, he went back out again, and the hood started coming loose. And whenever he got back in, he found that the aero catches are into like riv nuts down into the chassis in the front of the car, and it was pulling the riv nuts out of 2 of them.
Jeez.
Like the wind combined with the top speed of the car, it was literally just trying to rip the body off of it.
Well, Dassault lost a door.
So that was the other interesting wind related thing in the people that I know and was following. Mike comes in from one of the sessions, and 2 things: the passenger side door skin is gone, and the turbo blanket had caught on fire. It's like they were able to just pull the turbo blanket off, and then they panel bonded the skin. They got the skin back from the track crew and panel bonded it on. They had it just sitting on the door of the trailer out in the paddock in the sun to cure the panel bond with like clamps all over it. And I think after that, Robin Shute, who has won Pikes Peak overall several times in a crazy like hybrid formula prototype kind of car, he took the car back out and ran. I think he ran a 2
hot shoe this year.
Yeah, he ran a 207 with it. So I went out to dinner with them on Friday night, and yeah, it's always interesting to sit around with those guys and just listen to the crazy stuff that they're talking about, because there's always like he's going to kind of semi-retire this chassis and start working on an entirely new car.
Which I assume you can't share about top secret stuff.
Oh, he's making YouTube videos about it. So,
oh, perfect.
So like they'd taken the Camaro to PRI with this whole crazy new aero setup on the front that had these like huge side plates and stuff. And while they were at PRI, he runs into Robin Shute, and they start like just bouncing ideas back and forth about like, how do you make the front of a 67 Camaro make downforce? Because the car just doesn't, like, especially with a front mount radiator, everything is so big and tall up on the front. I was like, what what can you do? Well, first step is move the radiator to the back. So they did that and did big like air intakes in where the quarter windows and sail panels are, and doing that allowed them to basically, the car doesn't have a grille anymore. The grille surround is there, but it's just open, and the hood, and it's like it's a 68 Camaro Cal induction hood, but the profile of it just continues all the way down to the front bumper. So there's no grille there. There's a center divider that has an SS emblem on it, and the hood just continues straight down behind it. And it doesn't have, so he's all, for the last several years, he's had these big Canard dive planes on it with this crazy big splitter with big side fences and stuff like that. And now all the front body work is really simplified, and it looks just straight Camaro again. Like whenever you see the car on track, it's instantly just like, holy crap, that's a 67 Camaro with a gigantic wing on the back, and it is flying. And
does that make you some sort of like special happy?
Oh, it was so, whenever because I hadn't seen, I don't think they'd posted anything of the new front aero on it. And I just walked up to it in the garage, and I was like, wait, lots of things are different here. I don't know what's going on. And then whenever he went out in one of the test sessions on Friday, like the car turned around the corner and turned toward me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it looks so cool. It's just like instantly a Camaro again whenever you see it, which it had kind of lost along the way. So
it's almost Optima legal now. I said almost. Yeah. It might fit in the outlaw class, but that's so far, and that's a lot of the reason why they're looking to build the new car. Is like they built this. The core of that car is a tube chassis that they built primarily with like autocross and like the Optima series in mind. And then now he ran 200 miles an hour in that car at Road America, and they took it to Pikes Peak and all this stuff. And he's like, whenever you look at cars that were built to go to Pikes Peak or built to run 200 miles an hour at Road America, they do not have a superstructure that looks like that. Like this is like borderline irresponsible to do what we're doing with this car, how it's built currently. And at least he admits that, though, and that's kind of like why at the point that Unlimited is, it is almost irresponsible.
Yeah, and the thing I've always liked about him is they go out and throw stuff up against the wall, and they're the first ones to say, yeah, that was a crazy idea and it didn't work, or these two were crazy ideas and look at it now. Like it's, so like I think the new car is going to be built like purely around the aero, and then everything's going to fit into the package. And it sounds like it's going to look like some of these crazy concept drawings where they've taken like an old body and stretched it around an LMP car. Like I kind of think it's going to be something along those lines. So it'll be really wild to see what they come up with.
Yes, please. I support all of this.
So having dinner with them that night too. So this guy named Jason Hart, that's a pro driver. He's been around here for a long time. He does a lot of driver coaching and stuff. He's been working with Mike on coaching and then helping with car setup. So I ended up sitting across from him and talking about like driver coaching and him running, like he's running full time in Super Trofeo in the US and doing some SRO stuff. And then also running like Asian Le Mans and European Le Mans. Like this dude goes all over. Like he works like 52 weeks a year, either driving or coaching. And it's always cool whenever you can just sit across from somebody that does that for a living and just try to absorb whatever you can from them. It was pretty cool.
So this is where you tell us that he's a Honda Fit fanatic, and he thinks they're the greatest car ever made, and he owns a whole fleet of them, or so whatever it was.
He doesn't, but he said he has. So this, and like, I had not mentioned Grid Life or Sunday Cup or Fits or anything like that. I just mentioned that I do like, I've done Optima stuff in the past, and then just primarily have done like HPDE stuff, just kind of goofing around the last couple of years. And he was like, yeah, I have some friends that crew on pro teams, and like one of them does tires for a couple different teams, and said like him and like 5 or 6 other guys, they all have Honda Fits. And I'm like, I perk up. I'm like, Honda Fits, huh? And they go around to Track Night in America events. And so like this one main guy, like he looks at the Track Night in America schedule and then just plans his year around it. And he'll go do one in Phoenix, and then he'll just find somewhere to park the car for 2 weeks, and then he'll fly out from there and go do 2 races, and then fly back and drive the car to the next track night, and then leave it there and fly it. And just like this, just shuttling around and leaving the car in places and just doing track stuff. And so there's a whole group of them that do it. And he's like, if I was single, I would be doing that. You drive GT3 cars. He was like, those Fits just look really fun.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not.
It's odd that they picked why Track Night in America?
Why?
That's the odd thing to me is Track Night in America. Not that anything wrong with Track Night in America, but like to schedule around it. That's
because it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're at the racetrack working on the weekends. So
okay, it makes
it's
more.
not that expensive either.
No, it's really not.
It's about the cheapest track time you can get.
Yeah. And the times I've done it, it's just been an absolute free for all.
I mean, it's basically wheel to wheel, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, especially if you're in a Fit.
Yeah, Fit and advanced HPDE.
Any on track session is a wheel to wheel session in a Fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what were some other cool? Also talking about unlimited Corvettes. Eric Fleming was there in the silver car that he's run the last several years, with the big, giant, screaming, angry 8,500 RPM naturally aspirated LS, which was dropped down to us directly from the heavens and in all its glory.
This is where I wish I just had a clip that we could just play and listen, and we just stop talking for a few minutes, and whew.
Yeah, I do have some clips of it that I'm probably just gonna cut them into a post on the whole Instagram, but
you do that.
So he was basically, I think he just basically spent the whole weekend trying to get back up to speed because he drove the car at Super Lab last year, and then they hurt the engine, and then he didn't drive it again until they just got it back together for Super Lap again this year.
Yeah, and that's a long time away.
Coming to Koto, which is one of the more tricky tracks that you can go to, and then getting up to speed with a car that makes 1,000 horsepower and has big aero and slicks and everything, just turning that on when you're not a guy that just drives stuff for a living that's a tough proposition, especially whenever it's, we're running a month later in the year than what they had been typically. So track temps were way up versus what they're normally at. And it just made it to where for the 2 morning sessions, you had to get it done. Otherwise you're just, you're kind of out there just getting laps and getting reps. So, he's working with Lewis that was with G Speed originally. Now Lewis has started his own thing, and they had a whole team of people there, which they were originally going to have 3 cars. They ended up with 2 cars at the track, which the other one was the car that won in limited class, which was a C7 Vet with a kind of warmed up LT4 engine, was the supercharged LT, what was in a C7 Z06, I think. just spinning the blower to the absolute moon, and like a high compression kind of bottom end underneath it. And that car went a 209, which limited has been, I don't know that it's been under 210 yet. And that car, they finished it and were testing it at Crescent on Friday, and then brought it down in the first laps it turned in competition were on Saturday.
Wow.
That time is pretty silly.
That is absolutely insane for 200 treadwear tire, and like, you know, a fairly, like, it's still an aggressive aero package on it, but and Alan,
it's not a, you know, a Ferris aggressive aero package. It was relatively bolt on, like semi mass produced parts for the most part.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, nothing crazy out of the ordinary. And so like they had Jason Hart was down to do driver coaching and do some sessions in it. The guy that owns it, Alan Patton, is running like SRO and some other stuff. Jason was saying he's legitimately a very, very quick guy. So like, it's not surprising that he was able to get down to the time that he did with it. But, the car was wild because you don't see blower cars in a time attack session. So like, it's coming towards you on the straight and all you hear is and then it blows by you, and then it's just like deep angry. It was such a wild, it sounded like a Hellcat from the front. That was the only thing I could think of, was that it just sounded like a Challenger at a takeover.
By the way, I don't know if it's your mic or my audio, but like as soon as you start to make that noise, it just stops.
I just thought it was my computer.
No, it's
Yep.
It's for sure. Like he starts to make a noise, and all of a sudden everything just like, nope.
Yep. Nope, we're not doing that high pitch noise. We're skipping that part.
Well, that's probably a good thing for me because it probably sounded pretty embarrassing. But yeah.
But yeah, I assumed it sounded like a Hellcat, and that's what I wanted it to sound like. So
But did a good
that makes
way.
me happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then also second place in limited class was a Lotus Elise with 1,000 horsepower, I believe, K motor in it.
I saw them post on Instagram. I don't follow them, but for whatever reason, it kept showing up on my feed that weekend, and that looked like a wild build. And you don't have any pictures of it, for the record.
Oh, fun.
It was really cool, though.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll check the Instagram, check the Facebook. They'll be there. So yeah, there's like, I should have read more about the group. I think it's local around Austin or somewhere in Texas, but they've got a charity angle to it. They're doing some kind of fundraising for like cancer research or something. But yeah, I think that was also that car's first time on track, and they ran a 210 with it, which a Lotus, like I can tell myself a Lotus is a very small car. Like it makes sense in my head. In the Coda garage, and you're like, of these in one of these garages, whenever normally they only put like 4 cars in here. Like, it's so small, it's insane. And it's like, it's wide bodied, it's got big aero on it, but it's still just a tiny car. It's just wild. And it looked like nothing else on track. It was just it was freaky and doing lots of big turbo noises and stuff. So
yeah, 'cause I think it popped up on my feed. Oh, here we go. Yeah, they have like a whole YouTube thing. But it popped up on my feed, and I was like, fastest Lotus Elise at Super Lap Battle. I was like, okay, geez, sure. And then, sure enough, it was 1,000 horsepower Lotus Elise. I was like, oh, they're not fucking around. It's legit. This isn't some clickbait stuff.
yeah, no, yeah, 210 on street tires. Yeah, that's booking.
It's still kind of clickbait, though, because it was probably, I'm assuming, the only Lotus Elise at Super Lap Battle.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen another one there, like, because
Right.
it was startling to me how how little the car is, which I don't see them that often, but it's still just yeah, it's just crazy. As
There's
I mentioned,
somebody who has one of the brand new ones, whatever that is called.
the Emira,
Yeah, whatever.
Evora.
Emira. I think it's Emira. I think that's right. But there's somebody in Des Moines who has one, and he drives it to work fairly regularly, and he must go to work at the same time I do because I see it probably once a week when it's nice out. And we'll be running down the interstate next to each other. Like, that car is hilariously tiny.
Uh-huh.
That's like almost motorcycle levels of taking your life into your own hands, driving that down the interstate.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's so short.
There was a guy locally that autocrossed one for a while, and it had the Targa top deal on it, and he never had the Targa in, and he said because with the top in, I cannot get into it or out of it. Like, I have to be able to stand up out of the car and then sit down into it. And I was like, that seems perfectly safe. Yeah, that's awesome.
Like a go-kart.
Like it wasn't like he was like 6'5" or something. Like, this was a fairly like normal sized dude. It's like,
Way back in the day, before I bought my Audi, I actually looked at one, and I decided not to buy it because the one I looked at didn't have a radio or air conditioning, and I was trying to buy something I could drive like 12 hours at a time, and I was like, I like to do really dumb things, but this might be too far for me. So instead I bought an Audi TT, which was probably a word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, you know, McLaren or crazy supercar levels of thick door jams, but they are, and you sit down into it. Like the seat was basically level with the top of the door jam. And so you drop into it, and they are hard to get in and out of.
Yeah.
I mean, for like a basic street car with no cage in it.
Right.
as someone who drove a 350Z today with Cobra fixed back buckets in it, that sounds fine.
Just a day.
Right, but
it's
for a
normal
factory car with, you know, there was just, this is the car I bought from the factory. It is not your normal experience. So just because you made your Z hard to deal with is a different story.
That's fine.
Life shouldn't always be easy. So if you have to struggle to get in and out of your car, that's totally acceptable.
Part of me does really wonder, like, where I would have ended up had I bought that Lotus. Because
like blue skies and green pastures, dude, for sure.
It wasn't that much more expensive. And
you'd still have
the cost of ownership probably would have been remarkably lower.
If you were driving that for 12 hours, you would have ended up a greasy spot under the back of some kind of 18-wheeler because they would have never even known you were there.
Probably would have never bought the Omni.
Nope.
Which, I mean, there's like so many things would have been so dramatically different. Because had I not bought the Omni, I would have not made friends with Beck.
Oh, sure. We wouldn't be sitting here doing the podcast.
Yeah, there would be no podcast.
Right,
I think was the eventuality that we were
reason
coming
I went to talk to Michael Beck is because they had Weber carburetor stickers on the side of their Fiat, and I needed help with the Weber carburetors on my Omni. But if I would have had the Lotus, I would have been like, carburetors, what a peasant.
You would have just walked by them and been like, add lightness, jerks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God.
So, would have been a different life. I don't know if it would have been better or worse. It just would have been different. So, it's kind of weird to think about stuff like that.
Yes. And part of me will always want
just
that car.
one tiny little different decision.
Uh-huh.
How much that would have changed.
Butterfly effect, man. It's real.
Dude, I probably would have never met Katie.
Nope. No
because
kids.
we took the Audi that day.
Yep.
because Robbie was gung ho and determined to make me drive once, so he crammed himself into the back seat of that Audi. But I wouldn't have had a back seat for him to cram himself into.
You could have ridden on the hatch.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
Probably more comfortable back there than the other.
And
The actual
on
seats in
the Audi TT shelf. Yeah, it would have been.
I don't know.
You
That
sit in the back of that. You sit on the passenger side, and you put your legs on the driver's side,
Yep.
or vice versa, whichever. But like you don't sit in it like a normal. You have to sit like
And even
diagonally.
And even then, I think like the actual tallest you can be and sit up is like 5'4". You like if
There's
you're
actually a little bit of there was a very narrow margin of, because it did recommend you had to be 5'4", 5'2", something like that to safely sit in the back seat, so you didn't hit your head like when the hatch got closed.
Yeah, I
There was
remember.
there was a shockingly small window of, because you also couldn't put a child safety seat back there, so there was a shockingly small window of size between big enough not to sit in a child safety seat, but small enough to not get hit in the head by the hatch.
I remember whenever they first came out, there was one of the like Motor Week or something had a thing where they put one of their production guys in the back, and his head was sticking out, and as they closed the hatch, he just like went, "Mah."
yeah, that's what it
There's
was
a
like.
sticker in that car that said something about, I want to say it was 5'2" or 5'4".
Yeah, it was
It was
quite
less
short.
than an average person for sure.
But like even with the seats all the way forward, you couldn't put your feet in front of the seat you were sitting in.
Not really, no. You had to kind of like point your toe down and kind of hook it under the seat.
Yeah. The natural place for almost any human being to have that seat is like maybe 3 inches in front of the back seat, maybe.
What I learned was if you took the bottom cushion out, then the back and folded the back down, that they would sit level, and then it was a shelf, and it was actually usable at that point for like storage of things, and that's how I ran that car for a long time.
Yep.
Looking
I
at
found that
pictures-
out because I had to take the bottom of the seat out to put a fuel pump in it, and I was like, wait a minute, this is better actually, and I left it that way.
Looking at pictures of it, that back seat lines up with the roof line the same way that a back seat in a 350Z would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Basically.
if you just cut that like little storage area out and just put a seat there in front of that strut bar, that's exactly how it would look.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, their footprint and envelope cannot be remarkably different.
Actually, I think it might have a shorter wheelbase.
I believe it.
I feel like it's probably a shorter car.
I think it is. I would bet money that it is. Even if it's only a couple inches, I bet it is.
Yeah, the Z's like 6-inch longer wheelbase.
Jeez.
Yeah, that math.
98 versus
And
104.
and Nissan was like, we're not even going to bother putting a back seat.
Oh, no.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's kind of a lot of wasted space in the Z right there, but
There is. But
Is the G longer than the Z?
yeah,
It is, to get the back seat in there? The air quotes back seat?
yeah, because it's like 4.5 inches longer.
Okay.
Because the if you buy an exhaust for a G, it'll have like an extra section added onto it. It'll be the same. It's the same basic exhaust. It's just got a longer mid pipe in it. But
The TT was definitely worse than Dalton's Camaro.
yes.
Definitely worse.
Not to say that the Camaro is good, because it is not.
No, it's a really low bar to jump there, but that's one thing the Camaro's got over the TT, I guess.
we put it was a forward facing, but we put my kid's seat in the back of my mom's 6th gen at one point, and it physically, like, I think I injured myself just getting the seat put in it, much less getting him into the seat. We were going to take him, they were doing like spirited parade laps at G2 Motorsports Park before it like fully opened. And they said, you can bring kids. Okay. So we brought a 1.5-year-old, 2-year-old kid in a kid's seat. And I went to check in and sign the waiver, and I'm like, so he's good, right? And they're like,
The flyer said it was okay.
maybe not that young. Like, well, this would have been a better to ask forgiveness than permission kind of thing, but I didn't want to be the guy that got like permabanned from the brand new racetrack that was 40 minutes away. So
You can't afford to race there anyway. It's fine.
yeah, they've actually got open track days now they're down to about like $500 for a single day, which
For like a Saturday?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's not still.
I mean, to be 40
Still
minutes away
expen-
from home, I guess it is what it is, right?
It's still expensive, but considering that I've been paying nearly $3 for HPDEs, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. And like $350 for time attack stuff locally. So
That must be nice.
yeah,
I miss mid FTT for the price point.
Yeah.
so going back through some of, let's see, what other cool cars were there? So the Life GTR was there again. They didn't get to put down, he put down a 205. I think the car only ran like one full lap the whole weekend. They were chasing stuff on it.
I was just, I don't remember hearing or seeing anything about that car this year.
It's
Yeah,
like
he
all
didn't,
they do is chase problems on that poor thing.
I don't know that he got on track on Saturday. If he did, he just like went around and then came in. And then yeah, they put one down on Sunday morning, but it was just a 205. So I noticed on the car in the garage, the AIM or Motec dash in it has the reference slap on it, and it's the 202 from the from last year. Like, you know, just kind of a little flex.
Well, it was a flex.
Yeah, now they'll
Yeah, until Ferris knocked 2 seconds off of it.
yeah. So Brett Dickey was there in the Honda S2000. So he's, you know, World Time Attack, well-known Australian gentleman. So some international representation again. Like I said before, Jackie was there with the M2. They dropped a bunch of weight out of that car. So like it has like just like stitches of interior left in it, but it still has this giant video screen dash in there with like no dash behind it and like quick disconnect racing steering wheel in front of it. And then it's a carbon roof car, so whenever they pulled the headliner out of it, it's just bare carbon underneath, which is like pretty freaking sweet.
That's way better. Well, I'm guessing
I can only imagine. I can only imagine how mad a modern BMW performance car gets whenever you just strip all of the interior out of
that's exactly where I was going with it. I'm guessing if they're running the stock ECU, they have to have, just like in a Nissan, all of the modules, all of the wiring, everything has to still be there.
They took a lot of stuff. Like I think they pulled nearly 500 pounds of stuff
I knew they did that.
out of that car. Yeah. And I think they got it to where, like, he figured out at one point in his video of it, they have like a circular little sensor thing that is the key detector. And they figured out that it can't just be, it's like in the side of the steering column originally. It can't just be hanging. It has to be like in the correct orientation.
Oh my gosh.
On the steering wheel. So they just like had to Velcro it to the side of the guts of the steering wheel for the car to work. But he also said that you can start it with a phone app. And I think that was part of the detection for that too. And he said, as someone who at one point had to fly someone back to Chicago to get a key for a car, that being able to start the car with the phone was not a bad idea.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
One of the other cool cars that was there in limited was Alex Bernstein is an E92 BMW. It's just white. Some like just
I assume you
simple
don't.
but pretty.
I assume you don't have a picture of it.
Also, yeah, also probably not. I got lots of pictures of it because like it looks really good on track. And he was
I think
booking it.
all E92s that are on track have to be white. I'm fairly certain that's a rule.
They have to have body in white, like factory test car look to them, and it just flat works.
I remember last year at Road America, there were like 3 or 4 E92s or E90Xs, whatever they would be, that were all white. And the only way that I could tell that it was or was not Jason was that his didn't have a wing and the rest of them did. And I told him he's not allowed to put a wing on that car, and then did it anyway. And now I have no idea which car his is anymore. I'll never know.
So yeah, that one had I don't know if it was the Zebulon stuff, but like the Zebulon wing with the crazy CFD end plates, and then the side plates with like the little vortex generator thing at the back of it, and then vented fenders and vented rear bumper. It just slammed on some big old fat tires on some good wheels. Yeah. And it makes lots of pretty noises, and full caged, but like fully painted, full gloss white on the inside. Like the car was just clean front to back. And yeah, he went the 218, which in, just like a year or 2 years ago, that was a super solid time in limited. It's still a super solid time, but lots of Porsches because, that's...
Well, yeah, you're at the track.
Yeah. So there was 1 or 2 GT3 RSs and the SPL, the suspension company, they have one that is super quick, and it's just silver with a giant SPL logo on the side, and my camera loves it. It just, every picture I got of it is just dead nuts clear, no matter how slow of a shutter speed I was getting. That car's just, it just works. Down in the street class, so speaking of times that don't make any sense for the class that they're in, Kyle McHugh, I think that's how his last name is said, in a Supra ran a 215, which
that is moving.
Is a super solid limited time previously.
Dude can wheel though.
Yeah. Yeah. And that car has seen some things.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty sure, wasn't he the one who ran street mod and track mod last year, just changed tires between the 2 sessions?
That would track, but that car's like
Pretty
5
sure
different.
that was him.
Yeah, that car's like 5 different colors, and it looks like it has met a few tire walls, and it's awesome. It's so cool. The bumper is 1 gray, and it's a bare carbon hood, and then like fenders are a different color, and yeah, the rear bumper was yet another color, I think. He had stickers on it that say Supra Smash Brothers, like the video game logo. Like, yeah, I'm a fan.
I feel like at one point there was a shirt you could get with that on it that he made.
And I think there was a guy down around that garage that was wearing a shirt, I think that they had done last year or the year before, that they had done Supra Lap Battle instead of Super Lap Battle.
Last year that was very fitting though.
Yeah.
Well, the top 2 in street were Supras, and then
Okay, fair enough.
And then it was M4, M2, Supra, M4, Supra. So the top 7 were all that same
very similar
family. Yeah.
car.
Yep.
So there was a bunch of BMWs going like pretty quick. Jackie had a 214. He ended up 4th in limited. And then 215 for Kyle, 218 for Isaac Torres, which was 2nd in street. Like, street class having multiple cars in the teens, and then a whole gaggle of cars in the 20s. It's just crazy. There's only 3 enthusiast class cars, so I feel like I need to take the Z and enthusiast next year and just.
They added enthusiast. At one point, there wasn't an enthusiast at all.
No, I think they've always had it. It used to be a lot bigger. There used to be a decent number of cars that were fairly low prep there, but there was a local guy in an Evo one enthusiast with a 230. So GTX, that McLaren 720 GT3 from Rafa Racing Club. Yeah, 159.5. I don't know if that's better than what they ran last year, but
I want to say it is.
And that car just, I'm pretty sure, I think they broke 2 with it last year.
Did
that car through the S's is just, it's just nuts. It's just, it's the only way to describe it for a car that has doors and, is like the like base chassis of it is the same thing as the street car. Like, it's just mind boggling.
So did it sound like Jason's old car? Or is it
No,
like
it's
totally different?
It's super quiet. Like you hear more air than you hear
Wild.
car. Like, it's wild. It reminds me of, no, they won a 159.1 last year, so they were a little bit off, which it was hot as balls. So yeah, it kind of goes by and you just hear air and tires and then a little bit of exhaust after it goes by. It's kind of wild for a car that's just a, balls out street, like no rules version of a GT3 car. But through the S's, it like picks up a tire over the curbs just a little bit. It's there and then it's gone. It's okay. And then the GT4 Benjamin Sloss ran a 59.9. So yeah, they were the only 2 to break 2 this year. But and the GT, it just, but both of them look very unassuming when they go by. It's just whoop, 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 and it's gone. Like compared to a full on time attack car, the way a time attack car gets around a track, like it's just a whole different animal. Which tons and tons of development money and time, and buildings full of engineers and things like that. So
yeah, it's just an unassuming 159.
Yeah,
like, you're just like, yeah, I mean, that's fast, sure. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, 159. And then, you see like a Ferris go by and it's like, he's wringing the neck of that damn thing.
Yeah.
And it's screaming the entire way.
Yeah. Ferris literally said like the way his car works is just like, just grabbing it by the scruff of the neck and just yanking it around the track versus he was comparing Dado with Sloss with the GT, and it was just like the differences in it were wild. The GT, like the acceleration curves on it are just constant. Because it's got an X-Track, like full on, racing gearbox in it. Like there's no dip in acceleration the entire way down the back straight with that car, where even with a sequential, the ignition cut and everything, there's still, little like
peaks and valleys.
Yeah, just a little dip every time it changes gears. So isn't
it crazy that like there Ferris is with his beat up C6 Corvette comparing data with a Google executive and his Ford GT.
Yeah.
What a weird situation.
Yeah. For the record, that super cool. They were just chilling. They were just at the racetrack.
That's what everybody said at Laguna last year, is that he's just another guy at the track. He just happens to be worth more than everybody else there and
the track and
right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, And that's which, since I grew up around drag racing, and then whenever I got into autocross, and I'm like, when we're working with a guy that's, like an airline pilot or something like that. And it's always been wild to me how you just come across random people around car stuff, and you don't really know until you start talking to them, like, oh yeah, this dude, all right. That dude's kind of important, it turns out.
Yep.
But he just likes coming out here and dicking around with cars like us idiots. So
We're all degenerates. We're all the same.
yeah, one way or another. Yeah.
I doubt he's living paycheck to paycheck like the rest of us, though.
He might be. You don't know.
I mean, you can.
Man, I would love the opportunity to try and live paycheck to paycheck with his paycheck. I would give it the good college try. I think I could probably do it, but boy, it would be a struggle.
Yep.
But I think if I was given the opportunity, I'd figure it out.
Yeah, so there was also LMP3 cars were back. One of them had a good weekend, ran a 2-minute .6. Willie Putrajaya, Jensen Little, and that used to have the Miata, the NC Hammer Miata that was there like the first year, I think. He's got an LMP3. He had an interesting first session, had some brake lockups, and then lost the car and ended up getting into the wall in like the second session, I think. So he did not have the weekend that he was looking for with that car. But I also got to see them repairing the wall after there was a Supra that got turned around and just kind of tapped the wall with the nose off of like between 9 and 10 or just after 10, I think. And the first year we did it, I rented a golf cart, and then I haven't done that since then. And then this year they expressly said you can ride an e-scooter. So I cheated on the e-scooter partner of the show because I waited way too long to decide to do it. But I Amazon specialed an e-scooter, and it was awesome. I normally walk like 6 to 7 miles a day, and I walked like under 3 on Saturday and under 2 on Sunday, and did full laps of the track on the perimeter roads both days. So
that makes for a less exhausted Sunday night for sure.
Yeah, it was which if you get a 250 watt scooter and you go to Coda, just know that you're going to get to walk it up some hills because it ain't carrying your fat butt up them. But so like that was how I ended up off of turn 10 whenever I'm watching guys. So the Armco there, the posts that hold it in are like they cut like oversized holes in the ground and just wedge wood in behind them, I guess, so it has more give.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
because it's just like it's just like a 6-inch by 6-inch I-beam or something, isn't it?
Well, these are yeah, something like that.
Okay,
but they were just hammering like to get the. There was one guy that was beating on the Armco to like kind of get it back into shape, and there was another guy that was just hammering wedges of wood down in there to just stand it back up where it was supposed to be.
Interesting.
Yeah, like this guy, like he knocked out like probably 2 sections of it and flattened it a little bit, and within like 10 minutes they were rolling cars back out. So I was pretty impressed.
And then they gave the guy an $8,000 bill.
Yeah, that does happen. I don't remember. I don't remember how much it was per, because we ran there in 2016 and 2018 and got the full rundown of how much everything cost. The one that stuck out of my mind was the oil dry was $75 a bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I had 60 in my head, but I knew it was up there.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 75.
I think you're right, but I think for whatever reason I had 60 in my head.
Yeah. So yeah, you can spend a lot of money at Coda.
Yeah. So did you have like any weird like late night burrito runs or do anything like you normally do, or was it pretty low key this year?
No, it was pretty low key because all my crazy Midwest friends were in the Midwest still.
Couldn't be bothered.
Or
they
the
were
southeast.
or they were in South Carolina. So yeah, no rally ready, no. I mean, I had a little bit of excitement on the drive down and the drive back because the way that you get to Coda is on the 80-mile-an-hour toll road that everyone on. So the way down, I'm just rocking along doing 7 miles per hour, like a good Texan.
Naturally.
And I feel this hope. And there's this giant cloud of dust, smoke stuff. And I'm very confused for just a second and then realized that the F-250 next to me blew a tire.
Oh, jeez.
Like, he was like even with the bed of my truck, I think. But it was enough of a concussion that I felt the truck like hop. Like I didn't know if I'd run over something or if I'd blown a tire or if an EMP had gone on. Like it was very confusing momentarily. And then I realized as he pulled off on the shoulder, like, oh, he lost a tire.
Wait, so you drove down in a very comfortable air conditioned pickup when you have a perfectly good 350Z just right there?
Oh, the Z's got air too, but
Oh, does it really?
yeah.
Jeez, luxury.
Yeah, I'm not sweating. That car is going to be heavy no matter what. I might as well be comfortable.
That's fair.
Daily driver, Robbie. Come on.
I mean, the Sonic has air conditioning.
In Texas,
It's
air conditioning is not a luxury.
It's still a luxury.
It's a safety feature.
no,
Yeah.
it's still a luxury.
No.
It's the same. It's
No,
the same
it's a
reason.
safety feature.
It's the same theory that leads me to do a DE session in June in shorts and a t-shirt because heat stroke is a much bigger danger than car fire.
Yep. Yeah, we had a couple of those days where I can't remember where we were with Mid FTT where people were complaining so bad they're like, fine, fuck it, we don't care if you wear your long sleeve or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I did one in June one year in the Camaro, and I just shot the infrared gun at the driver's seat after I got out of the last session, and it was like 137 degrees or something like that. It's like, awesome. This was a great idea.
Yep.
And then on the way back, so
There's a photo of this
crazy. What's that?
There's a photo of this one.
So crazy 37 mile per hour tailwind.
Oh, then no. You sent me a photo of
what's-
something great.
What's the photo that you have?
It's a 350Z that you sent me. It's lifted.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did encounter, so they had the car show, like they've done the last several years too. There was a sweet, Chevy Cobalt on bags with like a completely shaved, engine bay.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was.
Yeah. It was sitting next to like an FD RX-7 and a couple of R32 GTRs, but everyone was looking at the Cobalt. It was quite impressive.
Yeah, they were.
And it was green.
Yeah, it was like kind of a dark
nothing is
green
perfect, Robbie.
with dark green with a tan like tan gloss engine bay. Yeah, just pretty hot. But so rolling into
Nothing's perfect. It is what it is.
it had cantilever rear suspension up in the rear window that I somehow missed until I walked back by it again later.
Wild.
You had one job, man.
Yeah, you know. So rolling into the car show on Saturday morning, there is a lifted 350Z on like boggers that is full like desert camo and has fender flares that are cut out in the shape of spikes.
They're serrated like a circular saw blade.
Yeah.
It's a vibe, Adam.
Yeah, it's the
It's
final.
not a good vibe, though.
It's a vibe.
Just because it's a vibe doesn't make it a good vibe.
It had a threatening aura. I will say that.
Yup.
It's no Pontiac vibe, that's for sure.
Yeah, Pontiac Vibe probably would have been better off road, but
Hell yeah.
so yeah, we determined that it was the final VQ boss. Like once you've surpassed all of the others, that's the one that's left.
I like how the side skirt is just like a steel plate.
Yeah, he
That's
like
cut out,
slabs.
that's cut out like the actual like silhouette of it.
Yeah, he slab sided it like an M wrap. It's got rock sliders on it.
Yep. I mean, he took his time on it. Like it doesn't look like it was shittily slapped together based on the picture. Like he seems to have given a shit.
Yeah, there had been quite a bit of work put into the fab on it.
It's really too bad, too. Someone put that kind of effort into that. All the things he could have done with his life, find the cure for cancer or world hunger, or he chose to lift and then apocalypse spec a 350Z.
Have you looked around lately? So Apocalypse spec might not be the worst plan.
He's planning ahead, where us idiots are just like sitting back waiting for it.
How many barrels of food can it hold? That's the question. So yeah, my trip home, 35 mile per hour tailwind out of the south and doing 87 miles per hour again on the toll road. I got a new truck, and I got an Amazon special bed liner to go in it. That's like not the heaviest thing in the world.
Whoa. You got a new truck?
We were waiting to talk to you about this on the podcast, but that's a whole episode.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So this bed liner, it's made out of like recycled rubber. It's super cool. It's not very heavy. I go to pass a semi, and it does a flip in the bed. I saw it in the mirror. Like my mirror goes black for a second, and this thing does a flip and lands back in the bed, folded in half, upside down, and did not blow out somehow. Ooh, okay then. So
I assume we'll talk about this when we actually talk about your truck, but you don't have a bed cover.
Not yet, no.
Okay. Man.
So yeah, it somehow landed back in the truck, and I took the next exit and just took two tie down straps and just X'd them across it where it couldn't fly up anymore, and then continued the drive home. But fun thing, new Chevy truck with a 5.3 in it. If you have a 35 mile per hour tailwind for a 250 mile trip home, it'll get 25 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
Even at 80 miles an hour.
That's pretty damn
Even
good.
at 86 miles. I think I averaged on that tank like 75 miles per hour or something like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, there's a lot of old man yells at cloud to talk about going from a 2010 model truck to a 2025.
And we'll talk about that next week.
Oh, you bought a brand new truck.
So
I just assumed you had bought a used truck.
So if you go price trucks with 50,000 miles on them, you find out very quickly that you might as well just buy a damn new one.
Yeah, that turns out that's what I should have done when I bought the van too, and I didn't do enough shopping around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Honda would markedly better rate.
Did we lose him? Is it my fault?
Yeah, looking at a couple-year-old truck with hundreds. It's not quite what. Whenever I bought my 2010 with 60,000 on it, and it was 6 years old at the time, but it was a $20,000 truck. $20,000 trucks don't exist anymore.
No.
Well, I mean,
they do.
You don't want one,
but they had the same amount of miles that my truck had on that I was trading in. So,
yup.
So yeah, Time Attack, car show, drifting. It's kind of the same, same format that they've had the last several years. I yet again did not set foot in the drift paddock because I'm an old square, and I look in there and they're all like they've got flat bills and socks up to their knees, and they're just beating on their cars, and it just
damn kids.
I just don't know if that's my scene. So
Happens.
and also inflation. 2 laps on a skid pad in these drift cars was $50.
Ooh.
2 laps.
Ooh.
Two laps, $50
For a ride along.
for a ride along.
No.
Nah, bro.
Nope. Absolutely not. No.
And they had people lined up all day. So
I thought that what it used to be was out of control. So I feel like
Yeah.
it used to be $20.
I was thinking it was like 25 for 2 or maybe like 30 for 2. Yeah. I saw like on Friday, I saw a car roll through with his sign stuck in the back that said 2 laps, $50. I was like, whoa. Okay, then.
That's
Which, you know, everything's more expensive. So
that's wild.
Jesus.
So, I talked about Dussault's Camaro. The max effort class was just 3 cars from Dussault's shop. There was the Camaro. They have a C6 Corvette that's twin turboed, big aero. And then they have a Mustang that they call the Evil Twin because underneath it's essentially the same car as what the Camaro is. It's a like 65 6 Mustang fastback body that
In a beautiful green color.
this deep metallic green,
Yeah. It's beautiful.
big forge lines, big Michelin slicks. It's got a splitter and it's got a wing, and otherwise it is stock aero wise. The car's widened. They widened it at the fenders like 2.5 inches or something like that, but otherwise it just looks like a Mustang. And it was running 187 miles per hour on the back straight.
Jeez. That is
And-
nuts.
It doesn't look nearly as wild. Like it's definitely tamed down.
No, yeah. So I was talking to Kurt that owns it, and he said like, because he, Mike pitched this, just as like customer kind of build series cars based on what they've learned from the Camaro, and Kurt had like he'd previously driven. He had like a GT500 that he drove at the Big Bend Open Road Race, ran like 180 something miles an hour on an open road with a Mustang, and has done stuff like that, and decided that he wanted to get on track. And like he's a Mustang guy, he said he wants it to look like a Mustang. He said Mike has the green light to do anything to it aero wise from the rocker, like from the bottom of the doors down, essentially. Like he wants to keep it looking Mustang up top, and it is such a cool car.
It looks great.
It
looks amazing.
Yeah, it is just super wild. Like again, like Mike's car looking more Camaro on track. Like seeing these cars that have that classic silhouette is just super cool. Mike's car, they also added a third element like heave spring on the front because they had all this room whenever they moved the radiator. So that's something that I've not really seen on a Time Attack car that has doors, much less an old Camaro. So yeah, that's a really cool place for them to run those cars because they're like Mike's car makes all this power and everything, but it's it's still a scratch built car like that. They're constantly developing and evolving. Like it's just going to be a steep road to make that car like unlimited class competitive. They continue to hone it and refine it and everything. So it's kind of cool that there's a specific spot for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I say again, as somebody who's going to build a car that is way outside of any rules and is not going to be fast. So,
But it's going to be bitching when it's done.
Hey, you could have had fourth. I mean,
yeah.
worst case scenario, you would have ended up fourth, which is really all a lot of people could ever ask for.
Yeah. I just want to go drive Coda again. I don't really like a trophy or not. So,
Well, and I bet that at least one of those cars you could have had a battle with.
So the vet ran a 208, and then Kurt was still just feeling out the car, and they said they don't have nearly enough front aero on it in the Mustang. So Kurt ran a 224 with just like lifted super early, just feeling stuff out. So that car's got a ton of potential with the power that it makes. They were running it turned way down to it's another like 1,300 horsepower build, similar to what they've got in the. I think it's actually one of the engines that they had in the Camaro at one point. So, yeah, just crazy power. Yeah. Speaking of big, and then last random thought, I should have taken notes on this. So Eric Fleming's car, they've got a new engine that LME in Houston built. That he said it's going to take a lot of rebuilding of like the exhaust and building a new intake and stuff for it. But this is a 468 that will make more power than what he's got now. And like currently the red line on the one they have now is 8,500. This one will rev to like 9,500.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
He told me that and I was like, I'm sorry. I thought you said 9,500. And he's like, yeah, yes, I did.
Absurd.
That might be worth the drive down to Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's planning on, he's doing Grid Life Road Atlanta, and he said he was thinking about Road America, but he's got to figure out like what's the minimum crew that can run that car now, because it's got tire warmers. It's like they had a bunch of people there, which it was supposed to be split between more cars, but like they had like former OEM engineers. They had like engine tuning guy. Like there's like every time that car pulled back in the garage, there was like 5 laptops getting pulled out and people just it was wild. And he's like, this cannot be every weekend. So he was talking, he thinks he can get like, he's got the full package lined up for Road Atlanta again. And he said he feels like that, like that's kind of his home track, that he feels like that's where he can make the best showing with the car. And then he was trying to figure out if they can do like two crew guys with Lewis's team to come for like Road America. But yeah, it was a wild scene in that garage. Anytime I went by there, it was just people milling about everywhere and stuff. It was
very serious business.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that car runs what it does in A is like a tribute to how much engineering was put in it on the front. Like they've done a lot of work and put a lot of resources into that car. So
wild.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what he's able to do with it at Road Atlanta. And it'll be cool later to hear it turn like NASCAR RPM with 468 cubic inches.
And 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So damn.
So that LME has a set of canted valve LS heads that they look like a big block head, like the way the combustion chamber is, and like they don't look anything remotely like an LS head. And yeah, so it needs like a whole different intake and a whole different exhaust setup to be built for it to make it work. Just crazy stuff.
Well, when you're that far into it, what's a intake and exhaust at that point?
Yeah, it's just time
and money. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's another good trip to Austin. Super fun to be able to run around an F1 track like you own the place. Be able to shoot pictures.
Yeah, I'd love to get down there and actually see that track someday.
Yep. Dang it! I forgot to bring my camera in here. All I've like since I fell off into the photography wormhole like
that's
20 something years ago now. All I've ever wanted was a giant ass Canon camera body, like pro level camera body, and a big like the Canon, like the big professional level zoom lenses are called their L series, and all the big ones are this like beige color. It's like all I ever wanted was a big old Canon camera with a big old beige lens attached to it, and I finally got it. So I got to walk around all weekend with my big L lens on there and feel like I was important. Not that I am.
Did you
Like
commit?
Larry Chen?
Exactly.
Nah, Larry has a way bigger one, but I'm not on that level yet.
Were you committed to that lens the whole weekend, or were you swapping lenses? Like,
Oh,
all
so
professional, like?
so the one that I got is a 70-200 f4, and that being the L glass. So I previously used that's just their standard 100-400. So it's a longer lens, so you can pull stuff in a lot closer. But the 70-200 being constant f4 aperture lets in a lot more light. It's just got a lot bigger glass in it, and it's just a lot better quality overall. I shot like 20 pictures with it on Friday, and I was like, good God, this is what I've been missing. Okay. Like the glass itself is just better, and then the stabilization is better. Like I was doing stuff that normally I would shoot a lot of pictures in a pan and maybe pull one or two of them out that were what I wanted, and I'm just like, I'm able to just hit little bursts through a pan and get stuff that is like right on what I'm looking for, crisp, and even with slower shutter and stuff. So okay, yeah, there's a reason, just like car parts, there's a reason that this is more expensive, because it's better. Yeah.
And it's worth every damn penny.
Yeah, it didn't take long for me to be like, okay, that was fine. That was a good amount of money to spend. So
Well, good. Now it's good now that you can use our podcast media stuff and go do more photography and utilize it and totally justify it now.
absolutely, I can justify it by going and spending more money to go travel.
Yeah, see? What's the point of having this camera lens, Jen, if I'm not going to go take it places?
Now
Exactly.
you get it.
Exactly. Yep. Well, yeah,
But
Good
all in
time
all,
as always.
yes, it sounds like a good weekend.
I missed getting to see GLTC buddies and getting to see GLTC on track, but maybe it'll work out for another year.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Just cover Road America.
I do want to hit one of the festivals, but
Midwest
I
Fest.
don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen or not.
Are we even going to Midwest Fest this year?
I'm spectating. I'm not driving.
Yeah, you think you'll go still though?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I want to see Sullivan King again. I want to hang out, actually enjoy Festival 4 Festival.
Right.
'Cause, yeah, I
Instead
no,
of because you have to enjoy it because there's no racing going on.
exactly. Yeah, no intention of driving.
Yeah.
I plan on doing Rev Up, but just because I want to shake out the car.
Right.
Steve Jabay will let you put a tent between the hot pit and the front straight, like that one, like that
Oh
first year.
yeah, we could try.
I'm gonna guess that was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
No, there's live streams and cameras everywhere. I don't think he's
Yeah,
gonna be
that'll
out for
be
that
in the
one.
way of the lives. I mean, we had to lay it down that year anyway. Of course, the wind helped us do that one day too. So.
Yeah.
But does it, didn't the wind like pick it up and take it to the next county?
I will never forget
tried
walking
to.
up to it and laying down and being like, "Oh, they got over here before the wind came up," and then realizing that
We were all inside
At
it.
least one, two or all three of you guys were inside of that tent at that time.
Yep.
Shit, that thing fell down on them. I should probably help them.
It wouldn't be grid life without a bit of a scare from the storm.
Yep. Gotta have some clouds you don't like.
Yep, exactly.
That's right. Been seeing a lot of clouds I don't like lately.
It's been blue skies and 74 and sunny here. It's been nice.
It's not been a good spring.
So I've been mowing a lot more. That's my biggest complaint is that I mow all the time, it seems, and way earlier.
Well, when you have so much acreage now.
I'm
We haven't had to mow yet.
finally buying a bigger
I'm
mower.
at the point where I probably need to start, but literally just in the last day or two.
Yeah. I'm on my...
So,
By the time this airs, I'll have mowed 3 times.
no.
Yep. It's time for a new mower because my mower is too small.
I know a guy.
Yep. But yeah, so next week we will talk about Dusty's new pickup. I have a running and driving race car again. I have a big yard. And then Adam went fishing and other things. And he was...
My dad crashed his race car.
I didn't want to talk about that, but I didn't want to say that unless you were ready to.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
Robbie wasn't going to blow up his spot.
I wasn't. I was like, I
The
know
short
he's been
story,
up
because I feel like I need to at least say something quickly about it, is that the car's in shockingly good shape and everybody's okay.
that makes me happy.
So,
Because, yeah,
but more on that next week.
next week. All right. Good show, everybody. We'll catch everybody next week.